Hello, wie geht's, Spaghetti? Welcome to Edinger German, my month-long adventure of German on the Edinger channel. Before I jump into it, I just want to say thank you, huge thank you, to all of the over 100,000 of you that watched my video last week. You know, it's really nice to know that there's so many of you that with outpouring support that will watch my video that is just super personal and about me, and I resonated with a lot of you. So thank you, and big shout out to all of you, especially the ones that left lots of comments, because I spent so long reading all of them to make sure this video was perfect. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so you've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail. Why did I choose Munich? Out of all the cities in Germany, or possibly Austria, or even Switzerland, if I really wanted to, why did I choose Munich? Why? Why?
Why? Why? Why? Why? Why?
A lot of people seemed very salty about the choice. I chose Munich. Let's go into it. One, if you've been following me on Instagram stories, you might have seen more insight into this, because originally there were like 4 or 5 cities in Germany I was choosing in between. Heidelberg was a big contender, so was Köln, Stuttgart, Dusseldorf possibly, and Munich in the end. Those are the ones that I was considering mostly. Now Heidelberg was a big one for me, only because I know a couple people that have lived there. They said it was really beautiful, they loved it. Also a big reason I wanted to move to Heidelberg is because there's a very small town next to it called Edinger, which, you know, Edinger, Edingen, heritage, thought that'd be cool. However, enough people I talked to said Heidelberg is a bit of a boring city with not much to do. It's kind of like a 2-day city. You go there for 2 days, you're like, wow, how beautiful, and then you leave, do something more interesting. So yeah, basically I was like, that one's probably out. Also, it didn't really have the type of language school I was going for, so rule that out. Then with the other ones left, I kind of didn't know which one to choose. And then I was like, you know, out of these, I have been to Munich before. I went to Munich last year, and I thought it was really beautiful, and I really loved it. And so I had a small taste. I had a small experience with it, and I went, you know, I really enjoyed being there for 2-3 days. I'm pretty sure I'd love it if I got to live there for a month or 2. And so that was a big reason. And then one of the final reasons that I chose Munich is because when I Googled, like, what city should I live in Germany, turns out Munich is literally the #2 highest quality of life city in the world, behind like Geneva or Zurich or Vienna, one of those cities. They're all German speaking either way, which is really cool to know. But yeah, Munich was literally #2, all cities in the world. And I was like, that's really cool. That's really rad in the end. I think it'd be really rad to live in a city that is known as one of the best in the world. So I was like, you know what? Fine, I'm going with it. Munich, there it is. We're gonna choose that one. Is Munich the cheapest option? Absolutely not. I am getting bashed a lot by some other Germans going, why would you choose, Munich? It's so expensive. I'm from London, first of all. Let's sit our little butts down, okay? London is still more expensive than Munich, by far. I mean, it's a bit comparable. I'm sure in the bubble of Deutschland, you're probably like, wow, Munich. Nothing beats London for me at the moment, where all of my rent and life money goes. But Munich, yeah, it's still expensive. I could have moved to somewhere in East Germany and then paid like half the price probably. But also I would have been in East Germany, so that's my thing. Now, a lot of you also were like, wow, why would you move to Bavaria? You're not actually gonna learn German, what a stupid boy. Guess what? German is spoken in Munich, all right? Bayerish, or Bavarian, is speaken in the area of Bavaria around the city center. However, I live in the city center. I live here. It's mostly people speaking German, okay? People migrate from all over Germany to Munich, okay? It's not just Bayerish speaking people, but I've not had any bad experiences with speaking German so far this entire trip. In fact, the only Bavarian slang I've heard so far is Servus, which is kind of like a hello, or you want some service? It's not actually that. Walk into a restaurant like, hey, service. We're hungry. It's not. So far, I've already had 3 incredibly good experiences of just speaking German in Munich. One of those, this week, I went into a hair salon and I said, Entschuldigung, haben Sie eine verfügbare Termine heute? You know, is there an available, appointment for today? And we responded in German. We set a time in German. I came back and I jokingly said on Instagram/Twitter, like, I'm gonna try and do my haircut without using any English, almost not believing that I could because my confidence was still really, really low. However, this hair salon woman did not speak English to me. We didn't speak any English at all. I was able to say what I wanted for my haircut. We had a little bit of small talk. I'm the type of guy that goes to a haircut. I don't want you to talk to me. I close my eyes. You're like, so what do you do? And I go, I come in to get my haircut and demand silence. Like, that is what I want usually from a haircut. Don't talk to me, all right? However, when I'm learning another language, holy crap, I was small talking all over the place. Like, so what's a popular haircut in Germany? Or like, oh, so where are you from? Like, literally, I was the annoying person in the barber stall. It was very funny. I had loads of conversation, and she understood everything I was saying. Sure, my grammar may not have been perfect, but I was able to communicate, and that was so freaking cool. I'm getting my haircut. Not too shabby, right? Did she do a bad job? Hopefully not, because it would have been my fault for being like, schneiden Sie alles auf, or I don't know, cut it all off, if that's how you say it. No, it worked out pretty all right. Also, funny thing to note, she noticed at the end, she said, you don't really have that much of an American accent. What? What? Maybe my German is not with an American accent. People are used to, Hola. That's Spanish? Hallo, ich bin Evan. Ich komme aus den USA. Like, maybe that was what they were expecting. I have a British accent now in German. Blows my mind. Also had to go to an apotheca, and I was like, you know, from all the running, I chafe a bit. I need some petroleum jelly. So I was like, haben Sie etwa petroleum jelly? And he was like, was? Wie bitte? And I was like, Vaseline. He was like, die Vaseline. Easy. German is just English with an accent. I nailed it. And then my last experience recently has to do with Oktoberfest, which is next week. I am getting a full Trachten from one of the best designers in Munich, known as Schatzi. Big shout out to Schatzi if you're in Munich. Check out your lederhosen there. I am super excited. I went in, she didn't speak much English. I had a friend with me to translate. Didn't need any translation because I can communicate now. It is the coolest freaking thing. All I ever needed was confidence and to be able to just speak and confidently just say it, even though I know the grammar is a bit off. People will give you a little bit. As long as you attempt to speak in someone else's language, that's all they really want. They will speak back, okay? No one's really been speaking English to me once I try and speak German. It's beautiful. It makes me so happy. And I was able to get my size and my fitting. And I'm really excited for Oktoberfest because your boy ain't using any English, all right? I'm just going for German. So I hope that answers your question on why I chose Munich. It was a good decision. I would do it 10 times over. I'm really, really freaking happy here. I love it. Did you use a visa to get to Germany or just a passport? Actually, fun story about that. I did try and use my visa, but the passport control guy was like, keine Kreditkarte zahlen, bitte. They don't accept credit card in this country. It's kind of I hate it. You know, they like to treat it as it's like this cool culture thing, like, oh yeah, we like to use money. Absolutely not. It is 2018. Germany is literally in like the 90s when like the Discover card got made and that's still not accepted. I'm not even just talking about my Amex. Visas. I'm talking any credit card. You cannot use it anywhere. It's just annoying in this day and age that you have to carry around a whole bucket full of change. In the US, if you have a change purse, you're gonna have like at most $2 in there, okay? Because the biggest amount of change you're gonna find is $0.25. But in the EU, you're gonna get like coins that are worth €2, and you're going to have like literally 20 euros worth of change just bumbling around like ding, 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 ding. I don't wanna have all this, okay? I don't want this at all. Let's get rid of it. But I can't because you have to pay with cash. Let's just say you wanna get from point A to point B. You can't do that without going to point C in the middle. You always have to go to a Geldautomat. You always have to go to an ATM before you do anything. It's like a constant annoying spin. I'm not a fan, all right? I'm so used to just going contactless. I live in the future. I don't even have to see the money. It just goes out of my account. Bye-bye. Nope, here we go. Ain't a fan, all right? I'm gonna smash that culture. That is by far my biggest gripe about the country, to be honest. It's probably my only big gripe, but yeah, they don't like credit card here at all. But to actually answer your question, I just used my passport. I just came under a tourist visa, because as long as you're staying for less than 3 months, you do not really have to worry about visa stuff. At least for an American. Is 2 months really a move? Voice crack. Is 2 months really a move, or is it just a long visit? I feel like this is all up to you and how you view it. Personally, I brought all the things that I'd want to live with, and I brought them here. I'm also not staying in an Airbnb or a hotel. I'm living in a home, and I'm integrating into society, into culture, buying groceries, you know, getting to know my area. I consider this a move. I mean, I do because I feel like I've moved here, most definitely. Has learning German doubled your pun potential? Most definitely. The amount of times I make puns now in 2 different languages is insane. If you watched my video last week, all those little extra little definitions and quips I was throwing up from different German words was really fun to do, just because it's extra niche jokes that you have to know 2 languages to get, so it's even smaller of an audience, but if you do get it, it's like, dang, that's great. I was in class the other day, and the teacher brought up a word. What is the word? What is this word? If you're gonna tell a joke, you gotta make sure at least you get the story right, you know? All right, found it. So in class the other day, we were writing down loads of vocab words, and my teacher was trying to explain what they mean, obviously without using English, and so then she wrote down the word vegan. Now, for this word specifically, it means to weigh, and so she's trying to describe this about a man trying to weigh something, and I cut her off mid-sentence to be like, ist der Fleisch? Oder? And she was just like, beat, and I was like, hey, she actually quite liked that. She says, it was nice. It's nice that I can make jokes and puns in 2 different languages. To put it simply, ist er Fleisch means, does he eat meat though? So, like, oder? So, yeah, basically, vegan means to weigh, but I took it as vegan. It's pretty simple. I love puns, man. I just love puns. What's the best way of finding housing before you move to a different country? Is there a bias because you're an immigrant? I would definitely search for what locals use for finding housing, because that's the best way of doing it. There are gonna be loads of predatory websites that look for immigrants and try and charge them large amounts. When I first moved to the UK, I did just find student accommodation that was super overpriced and was looking for immigrants. They totally got me, but eventually I then found much better deals with not 10 other flatmates. Wow. Now in this current one, I'm using WG Gesucht, which is a local site everyone in Germany uses in terms of finding a room for Zwischenmiete, or when someone's leaving on holiday for a month, they rent the room out. That's kind of what I did. Someone's gone for an entire month, so here I am. But they also mostly work with year-long contracts without having to worry about any of the middlemen. It's pretty great. So basically, look and ask other people from the area what they use and use that site. Honestly, my back is killing. We're gonna have to move around a bit. So the next question says, did you feel any fear about being away from family and friends? My honest answer with this, not really. Even when I moved from the US to the UK and then from the UK to Germany, that's never really been a big fear of mine. I'm very lucky in that regard. My number one fear is this fear of the unknown, of this thing that I'm about to do, changing my life inexplicably for a long time. I remember when I moved to the UK, like right before I'd done it, I got really sad because I was so scared that I'm never going to experience this period of my life again where there's this huge unknown that's happening and I don't know how it's going to be. But just to throw it out there, I have never once regretted making a decision like this in which I'm changing my life for the better, or in which I'm going to do something that changes the way I see perspectives and how I see the world. It has always been a good decision, and including this one, I do not regret it at all. It's been amazing. How did you settle on learning German? Well, German was the first language I chose to learn. You see, growing up in elementary school, middle school, high school, it was always Spanish. That was just the course I had to take. I also could choose to do French there. Those are the two courses in New Jersey that I could take. German wasn't really an option. There wasn't really anything else. It's just Spanish, French, English. I got to college, I got to explore a bit. I took Japanese, I took German, just as easy A's, because if you take like a 101 course, it's basically a GPA booster. I wanted to make sure I kept my scholarships. However, when I took German, I really enjoyed it. It was a language that I took just because it was interesting. I thought it was really fun. The fact that it sounded like English a little bit, but was a bit different, and I didn't know many people personally that took it, made it feel like my language. Also the fact that, like, my last name, Edinger, comes from a German heritage, it made me feel like this is my language. This is a language I want to learn. So yeah, I ended up choosing German because I really wanted to learn another language, and German was just a cool language that felt like mine. How did you choose a place to live in another country, realistically, given that, you know, you can't actually visit? This is a really difficult one because you kind of have to trust that people aren't lying on websites. But the thing is, I got to do a Skype tour of this place. I got to see what the room looked like and, you know, talk to the people that I was going to be living with. And it seemed like a pretty okay place. I also applied to loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of places in Munich just to try and find one, and literally only got this one reply that I liked back. Out of all of them, I sent like over 100. I was on that site every day looking for different places to live, but in the end, this one was a good one. I'm very happy I went here. How did you fluently learn German, and how long did it take? Fun fact about this answer is I can actually quantitatively say how long it took because I haven't missed a day of learning on Duolingo in a very long time. How long? 960 days as of filming this is how long I've been using Duolingo. Now, this was only 30 minutes a day, sometimes just 10 minutes a day, sometimes an hour a day, but every single day for nearly 3 years, I had been learning on Duolingo. Has it been effective? Well, tell me. I'm speaking German in Germany. Yeah, it's definitely worked. Of course, I've done more than that. After I finished the tree, I didn't just learn on Duolingo. I used other sites such as Deutsche Welle. I have an entire video about how I learned German. If you want to watch that, it's in a card somewhere on the screen. And also, I mean, I've been reading books. I'm on my like 4th German book at this point. Harry Potter 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban, number 3. Always my favorite. All right, the lighting. What's going on with the lighting here? Sun's come on back out. Let's fix this. All right, so now I don't look like a giant peach. Let's get back into it. So your mental health is fine, but you're going to a therapist? Makes no sense to me. Well, Ben, I feel like you're looking at this the wrong type of way, which is okay. I feel like a lot of people view things like this. Let me put it this way. Do you go to the doctor for a checkup when you're healthy? Yes, that's completely normal. Do you still go to the dentist when your teeth are feeling pretty fine? Yes, you go for your little cleanup every 6 months. It should be no different for mental health. For some reason, in today's society, we do have such a strong stigma attached to getting therapy or doing anything with mental health, because anything wrong with your brain is immediately like, oh, broken person. Absolutely not. Everyone's got issues. And though, like I said, my mental health is pretty fine, going to therapy has been so amazingly helpful. If you've never done it, and you somehow can afford it, honestly, it is so expensive. Oh my God, it's killing me, but it is so good. It is such a nice thing. I've only had 2 sessions, but I've already learned so much about myself. One of the big things that I learned was that I struggle too much with overthinking in terms of cost-benefit analysis. My brain is almost constantly worrying with every decision that's going on about cost-benefit analysis of how much can I get out of this in terms of how much time I spend in it, in terms of friendships, in terms of activities, making videos, going for runs. I'm trying to do as many things as I can in my day, and I have trouble just being, just existing. I almost do not like that. I honestly try to do something at all times, and that will burn me out, but it's also something that makes me feel better. So it's like this constant war with myself. And that's something that I got to learn through 2 sessions of therapy, and I'm excited to go back again. Like I said, 10 out of 10. If you can get therapy, please do. It's amazing. Kiara says, what's the worst thing about adapting to a new country? Being alone most of the time in the beginning, nostalgia, etc. That is the stuff that I like the most, to be honest. Being alone a lot of the time is really nice. It makes me feel, and this is such an Evan analogy, but I've just started a new video game, or like the RuneScape map has doubled in size and I have so much more to explore. I'm in a city I've never been in before. The world is not so small. I'm not in this rut. I'm in this huge ass new city, and it's really exciting. I go for runs in this area I've never seen before. That is the cool stuff, okay? That is not necessarily me adapting to this negative thing. I feel like it's always about how you view the world. If you're going to view things from a slightly scary or a negative way, it's going to come off like, ooh, oh no, what am I gonna do? I try and be as optimistic and positive as possible, and so I end up having a great time. How do you make friends in a new country / new city? So right now, I do have a flatmate. He forces me out of the house to go hang out with his friends a lot, which is great. I should, every time I want to go streaming, it's like, oh, well, now I'm gonna go out and speak German with actual people. So that's really useful. Just start with one person, your flatmate, or if you don't have that because you chose to live alone, like I said, I didn't want to do that because I wanted to work on my German, but if you chose to do that for wherever you are, there's a website called Meetup. It's also an app on the iPhone / Android. Basically, on this app, there's loads of different hobbyist groups. So people that like playing board games, or people trying to learn the language of the country you're in, want to meet up and just practice or talk about maybe their favorite video games. There's literally loads of groups that meet up once or twice a week, and you can meet up with these people, make new friends. It's a bit scary, yes, of course. I have downloaded it, I considered it. I think I'm fine at this point because I have a nice amount of people and I'm feeling okay. But if I need someone, there's always this Meetup app. Like I said, kind of Werbung, not an ad. It's just, these are the things that help. What about your job? You gonna work in the same field? Well, currently I'm still working for my job. My job is really great and super flexible. And so even though I'm going to school every day, I also work a couple half days a week developing the algorithm for my job all the way back in London. It's actually worked out pretty well. I'm working on a Twitter algorithm to determine how much creators should charge for, brand deals on Twitter. Pretty good, nearly there, work with the spreadsheets. So yeah, get yourself a flexible job. I know not everyone can do that, but luckily I've been in the field for so long, I've got a lot of experience, and it's working out for me, so yeah. Or just, become a YouTuber, tell mom, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. Or just, do both. Do both, having a real job makes you feel like a real human, How much German do you know? Because I'm learning Spanish and I want to do what you're doing and I'm not very good at it. How hard was it to first realize you couldn't speak English to people? This is a good question because I originally thought I didn't know as much German as I did until I started confidently speaking the language. When you realize you can't speak English to the people that you're talking to, it's probably because you've been speaking English to them. The number one thing that will help you is to stop trying. Imagine if, let's just say you're American, you live in America, and someone comes up to you and in Portuguese asks for directions. What are you gonna do? You don't even know what they've said. You don't know they've asked for directions. It's kind of strange for them to assume that you understand their language. Always, always, always start, even if it's just with hello or how are you in the other language, just try and make an effort in the other language initially. Even if you just know, like, sprechen Sie English? If you know, do you speak my language? It's so much more polite to show that at least you've taken the effort to learn that little bit of language of their culture before engaging in your language. My number one bit of advice is to start every conversation with the other person's language and try as long as you can to keep that language up. Sure, there are words you're not gonna know, so I might say like, haben Sie eine appointment available, so that way they know you're trying, but you're also like, I don't know the word termina yet. So yeah, that's my best. How long has it taken you from concept of moving into a new place to working out the details of living in a new country indefinitely? This really depends on where I've been going in terms of I've been to the UK and I've been to Germany, and that's not necessarily indefinite. Basically, my biggest wall in the way of me doing something is myself. I will constantly just say, oh, I'm thinking about moving to Munich, and then I just don't do anything about it. Like I said, I will say it, I get that instant gratification, and then I don't. And I hate that. I hate the constant BS talk where you tell yourself you're gonna do something and then you don't actually do anything to make progress. And so once I get over that hurdle and I go, nah, I'm doing it. I start doing actual research, I start putting a lot of time in, then in my head I go, I can't have wasted all this time doing research. And then I research more and more until I make the decision, boom, bam, bam, and then it's over. It's literally just getting over that initial mental hurdle for me that once that happens, it's super fast. I'll book the accommodation, I'll book the flight, it's happening. Otherwise, it won't happen. What is it like taking German classes in Germany? Basically, we just speak German in the class. That's how it should be. It freaks me out every single class about halfway through when I realize, oh, I've literally not heard an English word or thought English or spoken English for an hour and a half. It's so strange. I've literally comprehended everything in this other language. It's how it should be. If you're learning a language with another language, it's not going to grow your brain as fast. It's not going to grow your knowledge of the language as fast because you're constantly having to translate. You should just be speaking it and learning it in the language that it's in. That's the best way to do it. That's the way I've been learning it, and it works wonders. Lastly, our last question of the day comes from Impale Me with a Spork. Tame Impala with a Spork? No. Q&A, how do you deal with people who don't support your decision? I'm an adult, so it doesn't really matter if someone doesn't support my decision because they have no effect on me. Like, I don't really know. If you're in a situation where like your family is like, I don't know if I support this decision, you just kind of have to do it because in the end of the day, it is your decision to make, and they're going to have to either eventually support you and see that this is what you want and then support you, or just cut them out, honestly. If they're not going to support you and this thing that matters a lot to you, they don't really have any bearing on your life anymore. Bye. I'm gone. I'm moving to Germany, everyone. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this hopefully very useful Q&A about all my moving tips and things like that. I've really been enjoying Germany. Therapy's going great. Running's doing great. I'm cooking so much. Thank you for all the support on last week's video. I know it didn't have as many like, ooh, amazing cuts in this one. It's just a Q&A, okay? Next week, we got some German YouTubers gonna be reacting to. It's gonna be fun. Also, it's my first week of Oktoberfest. I'm so excited. The travel vlog's gonna be hot once I get to editing. Anyway, thanks for watching, keeping up to date with me. I'm so excited. See you next week, every Sunday on the Evan Edinger German channel. Goodbye. Just wanted to make sure I just got a little just back, you know, for the nostalgia purposes. Watch my last video or something. This is an outro. We got 2 videos. Go check them out. Bye.